Hello and welcome into another edition of CreekCast. I'm Brooks Carter, joined by head football coach Drew Carter, coming off of a Friday night down at Sonoraville where we tried to make some magic happen in the fourth quarter. That was a pretty exciting end to the ball game, or an exciting sequence of events, considering the deficit we got ourselves into. We'll talk a little bit about kind of the whole football game coming up here in just a few moments, but that was really the tail of the tape of how it came down for us. We got back-to-back scores, got two consecutive onside kicks that we recovered, which was crazy. I felt like maybe something was in the water for a comeback, but ultimately Sonoraville's defense finally made a stand there after a couple of scores and got the ball back and put the icing on the cake with a long touchdown run. But 35-14 the final down at Sonoraville. Coach, love the fight from the team to be able to come back. And obviously it's a very emotionally charged game there at the end. And I know just for a moment, you wanted to kind of address some of the things that happened at the end of the football game.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate for both sides of both teams there of how things panned out with that. Unfortunate because that's not the type of behavior out of our players that we expected. I know it's not what Sonoraville Coach Pate condones or expects out of his guys either. So it's unfortunate. But the thing that we've got to do going forward is that's a learning opportunity, not only for the guys involved, but for the rest of our team too, of what can and can't be done and how to handle ourselves. And in an emotional moment like that, we've got to be able to control ourselves because there's more than at stake just in that one instance. We end up costing yards for our team, suspensions going forward, how that negatively affects our team. So it's a learning experience. It's not what we condone. It's not what we expect out of our guys, but we're going to learn from it and move forward and be better for it.
Yeah. So, getting into the game here, first half, first two drives offensively, I felt like we really moved the football well. I said that on the broadcast of the game. We moved the football and didn't turn them into points. We missed a field goal opportunity and then had a turnover on a fourth down play. If the handoff exchange on that reverse goes the way it's supposed to, it may not be a touchdown, but it's probably 20 plus yards, setting us up down inside the red zone. So two missed opportunities for points there, and then they convert theirs into points. So they finished drives. We didn't. That was really the biggest difference in the ballgame in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you boil it down to its basic ingredients of what happened, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. We moved, I never felt like we were helpless as an offense, because like I said, we were moving it pretty steady. But tip of the cap to Sonoraville, they never let us bust anything big. And anytime you can do that as a defense and not allow an explosive to happen, you increase the likelihood that the offense is going to make a mistake. And that's just what we did. We missed the field goal, like you said. We turned the ball over on that first drive. And then a few series later, I think it was in the second quarter, we had a couple plays going. We have another fumble and give them a short field. So, those three kind of key moments really kind of shaped the first half, which ultimately decided the game because we had ourselves buried so deep at that point, it was going to be really difficult to come back.
Yeah, went into halftime down 21-0, and that was an opportunity for this team to roll over and quit. Watching the team scratch and claw their way back into the game to have an opportunity, because I think you guys recovered the second onside kick down 28-14. There was like 5 minutes left in the ball game. I mean, there was a real opportunity to turn it into a one-score game there, considering that the offense had gotten kind of hot there. What's the mindset on the sidelines? I mean, you're not ever expecting to come back from a 28-0 deficit, but all of a sudden it was looking like it was a realistic opportunity or a realistic chance. I started drinking the Kool-Aid after the second onside kick that we recovered.
I honestly don't think I've ever been a part of a scenario like that where we've recovered two onside kicks like that. Edward, we've seen him do it at practice. I mean, his onside kicks are unbelievable. But then the fact that you've got the same guy, Devin Especia, sophomore receiver, safety for us, recovers both of them. Unbelievable effort by him and great ball skills being able to do that. And it definitely energized us. But to your point, talking about our guys kind of scratching and clawing, I don't ever worry about that with our guys, but because they don't have a lot of quit in them in terms of just going out there and laying down and not giving effort. But the lesson for us to be learned is the mental focus that we showed towards the end when we started executing has got to be consistent throughout the game because some of those key moments that we talked about offensively, and then the same thing defensively where we gave up some explosive plays early in the game, go back to just little mental lapses, mental errors that lead to turnovers in offense or not making stops on the defensive side of the ball. So it's there. We just got to find a way to keep ourselves focused and motivated.
Yeah, a couple of standouts to me from the game. I'll start defensively because I don't feel like we give the defense enough recognition at times. But I thought Kobe King played phenomenally. He had the interception, which was a great play. Obviously, that was a standout moment. But they tried to pick on him a couple of times in man coverage, and they ran the running back out of the backfield on a long wheel route down the left sideline. And Kobe had him blanketed and had a great pass breakup, which would have been a touchdown otherwise. He has been probably the most steady performer week to week to week, on your defense. I mean, he is not. I don't feel like he's had a bad game, really, even a bad moment to this point in the year.
Yeah, he's been locked in and living up to his captain status. When it's his turn to make a play, he's locked in and makes the play. And that's on both every phase of the game right now, seems like. Whether he's in a special teams unit, whether he's on offense or defense. Um, he's one of the guys that we can really rely on. And we're hoping that as we continue to move forward, people kind of latch on to his shirt tail and go along with him and with his play right now. I can't say enough good things about what he's doing for us. He made a couple unbelievable diving catches on the offensive side of the ball too.
Yeah, he
So
did.
really a well-rounded full game for him.
Yeah, it was his third interception of the season. He had the two against Northwest in the opener. He's had a few pass breakups too. Has been really heavily. I mean, both corners. I should add. Brandon's had a pretty good year too, but especially heavily involved in run support, stopping the screen games. Kobe, yeah, played a really. He really stood out to me, and I was surprised that Sonoraville kept throwing the football at him after he, after a while, you'd think teams would stop it. And that's got to be a huge advantage defensively, where you feel like we can leave him out in man coverage, and he's got these guys locked down.
Yeah, you've got one side of the field eliminated, and now we can, help our coverage out to the other side of the field when you've got a guy like that. It really gives our defense an advantage.
Yeah, some other notes. Silas Pledger got his first career touchdown. I know he's been waiting for that moment, especially after that one last year at Murray County that he should have had as a freshman. I know he's been waiting for that moment to finally get that first varsity touchdown. Waylon had two more scores. He's scored in every game. He's scored in multiple ways, on the ground and through the air. He's up to let's see if I can do my math here on the fly because I did it Friday night. He's got I want to say seven or eight total touchdowns to this point in the year already. He's really he's quickly climbing up the list here. A couple more weeks, he'll be in the third place for career touchdowns behind Chase Ford and Case Kinnaman. I know for you that's something you're all three of your quarterbacks consecutively here are about to rank among the three best statistically in school history. But he looked really poised and dialed in. The short to intermediate passing game was really looked really good in the first half. I thought he did a really good job on third down, staying poised, keeping his eyes downfield, and especially in the fourth quarter when we were starting to kind of make some of those attempts at comebacks. There were multiple times on third and fourth down where he hit receivers down the field to convert a first down.
Yeah, did some good stuff. And Silas, you mentioned the touchdown. He had a couple other big time catches too on third downs. Waylon was able to find him. So it's going to be a big confidence builder for Silas. Because when you see yourself start to do some things right, his fundamentals are really good, running really crisp routes, and then makes the play on top of that. Big time for his confidence. It's also huge that the quarterback sees him making those plays for him. So now his confidence level and giving him more opportunities to make plays is going to continue to go up too. But yeah, Waylon, it wasn't an easy night for him to be able to do those things you're talking about too, because we ended up having some injuries down the line. We started out with a couple of injuries too. Look up at one point, and we got three freshmen out there playing on the offensive line because of some guys getting dinged up. And he's still able to do some good things for us. And that's kind of the nature of playing quarterback is very rarely are things perfect. You get guys dinged up. You don't have your whole starting lineup out there. You may not have a receiver that's your top guy all the time, but you still got to figure out a way to get the job done. And like I said, it wasn't perfect, but he kept competing. He kept reading like he was supposed to, and continued to play well for his team.
One thing I wanted to point out was the that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks was the depth of the second or the depth of the wide receiver position. I was trying to get our website pulled up here to look at some stats. I don't have them updated from Friday night, but there have been so many different guys who have caught the football this year. Waylon's doing a good job of distributing the football, but also those guys got to catch it. And
Mhm.
I've been really impressed with the depth at the wide receiver position. We've seen Tyler Douglas, Landon Bryant, Wyatt Mann, Kobe King, Elijah, who didn't play because he was in concussion protocol, but he's made a couple of catches this year for first down conversions. Silas, I know, I think Brandon Manus may have had a catch for the first time in a game Friday night. And you've even gotten tight ends and fullbacks involved too with Brody Howe and Rivers Show. I mean, I just listed off 9 different guys who have caught the football in varsity action here. With the first team, I might add, like it's not like usually when you start to see that many guys who have caught passes, sometimes you're getting down the line into garbage time where you're up big or you're down big and you've got the JV guys in. 9 different guys within the first team offense have caught the football this year. That's a really, I feel like that's been a really an impressive part of the offense.
Yeah, it is. It always makes you tougher to prepare for when you're able to distribute the ball to different guys because you got to get it to your best guys, and we know that we've got a few of those guys that we feel like are our best playmakers. But the fact that there are other people that can be dangerous or efficient for our offense, that makes us that much more efficient. And being able to distribute, and you don't know who's going to catch the ball, and it keeps the defense honest.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that 22 team you had. I mean, y'all were just stacked at receiver that year. It's the most reminiscent of that group that we've seen in a long time. Um, let's take a quick look at our corporate sponsors here, and we'll jump ahead to kind of preview our game coming up this week at Rockmart. The field goal PAT sponsor, Varnell Church, first down sponsor from Dairy Queen, Phoenix Roofing Systems, who's our kickoff sponsor this year, red zone sponsor, Hernandez Roofing, and our touchdown sponsor, S&M Auto Repair and Towing, and the rest of our corporate sponsors, Trinity Barbecue, the Todd Nelson Foundation, Engineered Flooring, Keller Williams, the Blankenship team, Lowry Tree Service, Precision Seamless Guttering, Selling North Georgia, Smoky Mountain Wood Products, Textile Rubber, and Mohawk Industries. So, Coach, going into this game 5 of the season already, this will be, when we're done Friday night, it'll be halfway through the year already, which is crazy. Comes and goes so quick every single season. Obviously, we know who Rockmart is, and we know going down there to play, it's a tough place to play. Rockmart is who they are, and so we're not going to talk much about them. What do you feel like our guys? We're going to be a little behind the 8 ball already. We've got some injuries. We've got just different. We got players out for different reasons that are starters. What's kind of the message this week to say, hey, we know who they are. We got to focus on ourselves this week.
Yeah, that's a big part of the message because all those things that you listed are completely out of the control of the guys that are going to be traveling down there, suiting up and playing. And we can't worry about the things that are out of our control. What we can control when we get down there is what our attitude, effort, and focus are going to be when we get out on the field. And as we alluded to at the beginning of the show, our ability to focus throughout the game, play to play, is what we've got to work on. Our execution from on a consistency basis and situationally was not where it needed to be last week, and that's what got us into the hole it was. So the challenge will be exactly those things. Can we check those boxes and go down there and compete and play to the best we can? And that's all we can control because we've got an opportunity to go play uh, one of the top teams, one of the top programs in the state over the last decade. So let the chips fall where they may, but let's control what we can control and execute the best that we can and move forward, doing things as best we can and kind of use that as a litmus test.
Yeah. If you've never been down there and want to make the trip, obviously this is probably, I think, our second longest road trip of the year. We got to make the trip over to Union County later this year, but it's an awesome atmosphere. If you want to go see a really cool high school football atmosphere, they call it the Rock down there. I've gotten closer with Coach Parson with some of the stuff I've done with NWGA football. Wonderful guy. He's built a great program down there. But if you want to just go see a cool high school football atmosphere, this is a chance to go do something like that. If not, you don't want to make the drive. We'll have it on the Coahulla Creek Sports Network as we always do. Last year, this considering, going back just a year ago, I actually felt like we competed really well in this game against Rockmart. This is a team that wound up being a state semifinalist. So I didn't feel like our guys played scared of them last year. I'm hoping that's the same thing this year.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be part of the way we look at things. Is we competed well against them last year. We're able to do things, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that gave them a tough time. So hopefully, our guys will have a little bit of confidence and belief in that way. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we've had a good bit more success in how we've been able to move the ball and produce some points this year. So maybe we can build off of that is the expectation. And again, you're doing it against a really quality opponent. So if you're able to do some good things against them, hoping that it's going to give us some confidence as we enter the second half of the season, and maybe continue to form our identity and give our guys some belief in what it is that we're doing, and give themselves the belief in their teammates and themselves.
All right. For Coach Drew Carter, I'm Brooks Carter. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of CreekCast. We'll be back here same time next week on Tuesday is when we usually put the show out on our YouTube channel. We would love for you to continue to subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, but the more we do more on YouTube, we can actually monetize this and put some of the money back into our program with the Quarterback Club, which is always something we are interested in doing. The more we can do for our players and coaches, the better. So, would love for you guys that watch our videos every week to subscribe and like each video that you do watch on our YouTube channel. So, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.